Ma huwa Islam, man huwa Muslim, what is Islam, who is the Muslim? These are very important questions to ask. The questions that only an intelligent person asks himself or herself. Oftentimes, people are oblivious of the most basic questions they're supposed to ask
Yeah.
themselves. So, if I ask myself that, what is Islam, and then who is a Muslim, it means that I am at that point going out of my inherited religion as a Muslim. Like for a lot of us, I mean,
I want to
we
take
are
a
giving
step
back, yeah,
back
we are
and
giving
look
back to
at
as
it.
Muslim. Fine, then, but it's a good thing to really rediscover one's Islam. This is the best to understand that I'm Muslim because I want to be Muslim, not because my parents are. And these questions are the motivations for such a personal discussion. So I will say, Ma wal Islam. What is Islam? I give the technical definition. And then scholars will say, Al Islamu, what is Islamu lillahi bi tawheed, wal inqiyadu lahu bi ta'a, wa khulusu min ash-shirk. Mention the three things. Al Islam lillahi bi tawheed, to submit to the creator of the heavens and the earth in his oneness. وَالِانْقِيَادُ لَهُ طَاعَةً. And if you've identified and submitted to the one who created the heavens and the earth, you are given 100% decision to follow and obey him. And then وَالْخُلُوصُ مِنَ الشِّرْكِ, and to stay away from, and this is where Islam has its uniqueness. Islam is the most monotheistic faith. When we talk about monotheistic faith, we talk about Judaism, Christianity, Islam. This the Abrahamic faith, as it is called in academia. So when you look at it, Islam is the most strictly monotheistic faith. That nobody will participate in the unity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his right of determining of deserving worship. So this is basically technical academic Islam. الاستسلام لله بالتوحيد والانقياد له بالطاعة والخلوص من الشرك. Now, a certain non-technical one, and then I also want to bring that to the fore. Scholars said that there are certain things that are axiomatic in the life of they are facts that nobody can doubt them. And the first one is that look, there was a time we're not here. No, no, I mean, we all know this, that there was a time we're not here. Even
Yeah.
the earth in itself, the universe in itself had a
There was a
beginning.
time. Yeah.
This is the facts. And then we find ourselves here now. I mean, it's only we have certain philosophers who doubted their own themselves.
Postulations.
Descartes, for instance, we only have philosophers like Descartes who doubted every single thing, and then came to realize he could not doubt himself, and that philosophical cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am, because he couldn't doubt himself. So we realize that we are also existent. That's axiom number two. And then the third one is that we are not going to be here forever. We're going to leave this world. And then
Absolutely.
from these three axioms, then you have questions that will come out of each one of them. If you've not been here forever, where do we come from? If we are here now, what's our duty here? And if we're going to leave this place, where are we going to? And then the scholar will say, your response to that. I mean, this is, I've defined the academic
Yeah.
Islam, right?
Yes.
Your response to these fundamental questions. It's only a very reasonable person that will sit down and ask himself or herself this question, determines your Islam, right? And determines the quality with which to attach to your Islam. So Islam is about a response to our Creator, that is the originator of the heavens and the earth. And then the purpose of us on earth is to worship Him. And then we leave this place, we are going back to Him to give an account of what we've done on earth. So if you're going to be asked about Islam, this is what's going to be my response. Allah knows best.
Naam. Allah Adam. Thank you very much for your response. From another angle, picking it up from what you said, we all submit to the purpose, which is the will of Allah. So people would like to understand, okay, now that we found a purpose of existence, we Muslims, and we understand our Islam, that, okay, this is the religion, that based on the definition, and you would like to know, okay, now, what is the will of Allah on my personal self? What is the will of Allah? So, because you say, okay, it is a submission, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu udkhulu fi silmi kafatan wa la tattabi'u khutuwati shaytan. So, okay, we have entered into the silmi kafatan. Now, what is the will of Allah
No, and this is why if a person submits to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we talked about the definition. When they talk about, okay, what exactly are you going to do by submitting? And then number one, you submit by the testification of faith, the statement of La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. And then another aspect of the uniqueness of Islam is this. Islam has not claimed to be anything new. And Allah told the Prophet in the Quran, Kul ma kuntu bid'a mina rasul. I am nothing new. I'm just a culmination of the messages of earlier prophet. My message is the message of Adam. My message is the message of Ibrahim. My message is the message of Musa. My message is the message of Isa, Jesus Christ. It's the same thing. And what is that message? La ilaha illallah. There is no deity worthy, deserving of being worshipped except our Creator. And then the prophet who is sent as his messenger. And this prophet lays it out. Okay, in this question is very important. In some cultures, this is why they remain idolaters. You take, for instance, the Yoruba culture, for instance. Now you realize that there's belief in a central deity in this culture, which is very similar to what the Arabs also believe. Yeah. But how do you worship this deity? How do you approach this deity? It's unknown. So when you realize that it's no act of worship existing, then this prophet comes around, explains to us, this is how to worship your Creator. And then we submit to this prophet who has come to tell us that this is how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You worship him by salat, you worship him by fasting, you worship him by going to Hajj, you worship him when you ask him. These are the ways to approach your Creator. The human nature can apprehend a Creator. It's factored into us. Like this in Islam we call it fitrah. The Prophet said, "Kullu mawludin yuladu ala al-fitrah." Every child is born in a state of fitrah, of recognizing that there's a Creator that brought me into this world. And one of the church fathers, John Calvin, called it sensus divinitatis, if I got that word correctly. That is a sense of the divine inbuilt in human beings. And we have researchers now, secular scientists who are not religious, people like Justin Barrett, right? If some of our viewers have the research, so you go search Justin Barrett and look at his researches, you realize that children, right, even children raised by atheist parents, right, have a sense that they were created.
They were created.
Yeah. So this is ordinarily apprehended with what every human being can apprehend this. Where the issue is how do I worship this deity? And this is what the prophets come to do. That look, this is how you worship this deity, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. And Allah knows best.
You've said a Muslim is anyone that submits totally to the will of Almighty Allah. Yeah. Now, there are some people that they were born into Islam. Like you said, they have Muslim names, Rashida, Rukoya, and all that. But they do not practice Islam. Like, they don't pray, they don't do any other thing, except during Ramadan that everybody will fast. Are they still Muslims?
No, this is a very, very beautiful question. So I'll answer it on the surface, because if I'm going to go deep into it, they're going to go, and I would gesture into the direction of the depth anyway, so that's what we'll talk about. Islam is about two things, right? It's about proper belief and proper action. It's about orthodoxy, you having the correct belief, and then orthopraxy. We'll call orthopraxy is like there has to be action. When the Quran talks about the Muslims, there are two conditions. الذين آمنوا الذين آمنوا ويعملون صالحات. Yani those who have faith and then who do good deeds. Faith is not sufficient. In fact, the argument is that if you have faith, it should reflect in your person. Right? The hadith of the Prophet said that inna fi jasadi mudghah. There's a piece of flesh in our body. إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله. When it is healthy, the entire body is healthy. وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله. If it is unhealthy, the entire body is unhealthy. ألا وهي القلب. This piece of flesh is the heart. If the human heart is healthy, for individuals that you've mentioned, it will reflect in their duty, in their persons via actions. There are two things. One, they are ignorant of what Islam says. That's number one. Number two, they are just being lazy about it. Number three, let me add the third one. They are rejecting, even if they are Muslim name, they are rejecting that Islam.
They're creating a buffer.
Yeah, they feel that no, even if we have Muslim names, look, that was the religion of my father. I don't really care. There's a subsection of the atheist world that are called there's a specific name, I've forgotten.
Agnostics.
Not agnostics. they don't care if God, an agnostic is not is not sure.
An atheist is easier to catch,
Yeah.
but the agnostics,
Yeah, they say they are not sure, but
we can't hold them.
there's a particular subsection of this,
Okay.
and these are people with Muslim names but are functionally atheists. They're functionally atheists.
Atheists.
So this, it can be three of this category. For the ignorant one, ignorance may be an excuse, possibly. It's very difficult in our contemporary world because Muslims all over, but it's a possible excuse. For those who are the second category, they're lazy about it, their Islam may be at stake. And for those who have decided that, look, I'm not, even if Islam is true, I'm not ready. This one, it would be kufr. They would not be deemed to be Muslims. So the category we need to really care about are the ignorant ones, and then the lazy ones. That, okay, you people have affirmed that you are Muslims, but Islam can't be complete if there is no action to back it up. In the least, you must pray. And then we have Muslims who don't pray. We have Muslims who only pray once a year during the Eid al-Kabir. We have Muslims who pray twice a year, Eid al-Kabir, Eid al-Fitr. We have Muslims who pray once a week. Every Friday. So we have these categories of Muslims that you can classify them based on the time they pray. We have them Muslims who pray twice daily, Subi and Isha. And you have to tell them, look, the person you are worshipping with Subi and so they look, I've tried that far. so tell them, no, you need more. Then you can't just do. You don't get to choose how to worship Allah.
Absolutely. A lot of people would even say, my Islam is not that is, that statement, my Islam,
It's in the heart.
Yeah, my Islam is in the heart.
I'm more holier than you.
Yes, how do you know that? And subhanAllah, and people would even say things like, did you know that some of these people that are not even using jilbab will even enter Jannah before those all those nonsensical statements? And then that's where I'm coming to. There is this buffer that this newer generation use now. It's some sort of a defensive mechanism to sway away corrections. When you're trying to approach young Muslims, and especially those ones that are in university and they feel that they've known one thing or the other, or they are now into life, you're trying to put some sense into them, and then they make this defensive statement of, please don't judge me. Don't judge me. How do you respond to that?
Yeah.
Still on that.
Yeah. There are a variety of ways to respond to them. And then also probably there will be a little bit of wisdom required. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Prophet, "Udu'u ila sabili rabbik bil hikmah wal mau'izah hasanah wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan." Call people in the best of ways, and then give them sermons that are good. And then even if you are debating them, debate them in the best of ways. And before that, I once listened to a debate, Speaker's Corner in the UK. There was a brother, and I love the analogy he gave. He was talking to this individual, and he said, look, if I give you a mentioned amount of money, £1 million or so, would you be grateful? So no, I'll be £10 million. I'll be very grateful. In best, okay, look, would you sell your eyes to me for £1 million? I said, no, why would I sell my eyes? And he said, okay, it means that the eyes that you have are more valuable than £1 million. I said, yeah.
That's the guy from Smile to Jan now. I'm trying to remember his name.
So he said, yeah, so your eyes, and then it means that Allah gave you something that is what more than millions.
Yes.
So, and then how do you show gratitude? You've said that if a human being did this for you, you show gratitude. How do you show gratitude? So would you be grateful? Of course I'm going to be grateful. How do you show gratitude? Allah has defined how to show gratitude to Him. The entirety of our acts of worship is showing gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want to thank me for what I've done for you, for creating you, for giving you life, for giving you eyes. It's this way, right? So we start with this. Then we'll talk to people that, look, we are always judging things. We are, as human beings, we are always judging things and people all the time. This is the foundation of logic, right? When in Arabic, we say there's khabar wa insha. We say that there is statements, and in logic we call them propositions. And then there's instructions. When in logic, when I say it's noon, this is the entirety of human language. When I say it's noon, when I say it's in the morning, when I say you have to look at what I'm telling you and validate it by declaring it. false or true. I mean, the entirety of our actions and behaviors as human beings is based on this, right? We give judgment every day. If somebody told me that it's morning, because I believe him and I don't doubt him, I'm going to work in tandem with that. But if I doubt him, I'm going to say, no, I'm going to follow up with what he's saying. So basically, we are doing this all the time. So if a Muslim says, I'm Muslim, right? He's not denying Islam, but you're not acting like a Muslim. So he said, don't judge me. Look, you yourself, you are judging me by saying I shouldn't judge you.
Yeah.
However, there may be a point in what they're saying. We should not approach people arrogantly. We should not come from a holier than thou angle that, look, Mr. Man, you are not praying Hellfire Street. So if somebody comes to me and says, you're going to hell, and he comes with this approach, I say, okay, let me go. Is it your father? Leave me, let me go there. There's a verse that Pharaoh Musa was sent to Pharaoh. And Allah told him, اذهبا إلى فرعون إنه طغى فقول له قولا لينا لعله يتذكر ويخشى. Oh, Moses and Harun, go to Pharaoh and speak to him. The Quran categorically uses word layyina, soft words. لعله يتذكر ويخشى. And this is a criminal. The Pharaoh was a criminal. So in Islamic history, there was a king called Al-Ma'mun. So Al-Ma'mun was one of the Abbasid caliphs, one of the greatest of the Abbasid caliphs. And then he was also learned to an extent. And then this scholar came to his palace and was admonishing him. And he was very harsh. And then Al-Ma'mun allowed him finish. And after he finished, Al-Ma'mun said, look, Allah sent somebody better than you to somebody who was worse than me, and instructed him that he spoke to him in the gentlest of terms. And of course, Musa was better than the preacher, and Pharaoh was worse than Al-Ma'mun. So it was a shut up for the man. That look, irrespective, we try as much as possible to. Of course, we're talking about people who are either ignorant or people who are probably lazy. Not people who have declared war on Islam. That probably will not even listen to you. So we owe people an explanation. That's what we owe them. We want them to be better Muslims, and when we give them explanation, the only thing we owe them is dua. If Allah wishes, it makes them. If they reject, we've done our part.
Now, another thing that some people in Islam that they understood, they think that Sunnah is a separate thing entirely from the religion of Islam. They feel Sunnah is something strange on its own. Please, Sheikh, Sunnah, what is Sunnah and how is it related to Islam?
Yeah, we'll talk about Sunnah. It depends on the context with which we are talking about it. For some scholars, the scholars of Usuluddin. Usuluddin means that scholars of Aqidah, scholars of the Creed. Sunnah means Islam. There is no difference. Sunnah is Islam. And we'll talk about scholars of Hadith, people who are specialists in looking at the statement, actions of the Prophet ﷺ. Sunnah is the statement, the actions, the history of the Prophet ﷺ in summary. And then we look at the way jurists, fuqaha, look at Sunnah, something that is close to the compulsory, but it's not actually compulsory. So this is where a mix-up comes. There are people who actually learned, and the Prophet said this, and they say, but that is Sunnah. No, Sunnah is as compulsory. So at times it requires a little bit of education. So I ask people that, look, when our dead die, right, we bath them, we shroud them with the white cloth, we pray over them. All of these is not mentioned in the Quran in detail. So you of course you will not say that, well, Sunnah, no. So it needs for us to explain what is meant by Sunnah to a lot of people. That the Sunnah is part and parcel of the sources of Islam, where you derive rules and regulations of Islam. The Quran will only talk about issues in general terms: pray, fast, the details, and then the kayfiyah, the awness, so to say, the modality of these things. Is the Sunnah that comes to explicate and explain them. So the Sunnah is not something that you can just cut off and jettison and say that no, it's an essential and the integral part of our Islam and being Muslims, and Allah knows best. Welcome.
As Muslims, who do we choose as our role model, and how do we deal with identity crisis among us?
For role model, straightforward answer, very easy. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. The best role model, the only role model for Muslims is the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Identity crisis needs a little bit of navigation. Some will not even understand what is meant at times. So at times in your personality, you are Muslim, you're an African who was educated in a Western way. And then all of these at times will come around and you ask yourself, what exactly are you? Should your Islam, how does your culture blend with your Islam and stuff like this? Because I've experienced this, right? I was raised in Lagos and pick up Islam along the way. There's certain questions that occurs to you. And the answer is very simple. Own every part of your identity. Own every part. It's who you are. So if you're somebody who grew up in Ibadan, that's part and parcel of who you are. If you grew up in another, that is part of. You don't reject any part. Look, at times you discuss it because the world is global now. You discuss with people and they tell you that, okay, look, we don't want to stigmatize black people, so we don't want to use words like black. We want to say that people of color. No, I'm black. That's what I am. And I'm not denying. If I grew up with comic books, and I usually get annoyed like when they turn a particular character black. So we don't need these to be integrated. I am black, I'm Nigerian, I'm a Yoruba person, I am Muslim. Right? You own every aspect of who you are, and you do not in any way feel ashamed. Allah was not wrong when He created you a black man. Doesn't make you less of a human being. It is part of this problem, this identity crisis, that makes some people bleach. They want to be like the Westerners. That is not the skin color you are given by a creator. Right? Own every part of who you are. And then for Muslims, the Islamic identity should be the most important. That ends all identity crisis.
Thank you very much, Ya Sheikh. It's been a very wonderful time with you. Thank you very much. Allah Azza wa Jalla increase you in knowledge and increase you in umr. It's been a wonderful one. Beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, it's been an insightful conversation with our Sheikh. As you all know, Sunnah is an integral part of the religion, one that should not be set aside and thrown away. So, in a nutshell, Sunnah is an integral part of our Islam and cannot be thrown away, cannot be set aside. On behalf of everyone here in the studio, I greet you all with the best of greetings, the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.